Hey everyone and welcome. This is so hard to talk about, but I need to share my story. It's a story of betrayal, of shattered trust, and of the agonizing journey back to myself after discovering my husband's infidelity. That crushing blow. The moment you realize everything you thought you knew, everything you built together, is a lie. It's a pain I wouldn't wish on anyone. This isn't a story of blame or revenge, though, believe me, there were plenty of moments I felt those things intensely. It's a story of survival, of picking up the pieces, of finding the strength I never knew I had. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the raw, unfiltered emotions of that discovery. The initial shock, the gut-wrenching disbelief, the tidal wave of confusion that washed over me. I'll show you the cracks in the foundation of our marriage that I, in my naivete, overlooked. I'll share the subtle signs, the lingering suspicions, and how I desperately tried to rationalize them away, clinging to the hope that my love was enough, that my family was strong enough to weather any storm. But sometimes the storm is so powerful, it tears everything apart. We'll go beyond the initial discovery. We'll dive deep into the agonizing confrontation, the brutal honesty, and the aftermath. This isn't a pretty picture, I'll be honest. It's messy, it's painful, and it's utterly heartbreaking. I'll spare you nothing. Prepare yourselves, because I'm going to be completely vulnerable. I'll take you through the roller coaster of emotions that followed, the anger, the crippling grief, the desperate search for answers, the crushing weight of betrayal. It was a journey through the darkest corners of my soul, a journey that almost broke me. But this video isn't just about the pain, it's about the healing. It's about the slow, arduous climb back to the light. I'll share my experience with therapy, the support I received from my incredible friends and family, and the self-discovery that emerged from the ashes of my broken marriage. I want to show you that even in the deepest darkness, there's a path forward. There is hope, even after such a devastating betrayal. So stay with me as we navigate this journey together, from the crushing blow of discovery to the quiet strength I found within myself. Get ready, because this is just the beginning. It started subtly, like a misplaced puzzle piece in a life that had always felt perfectly assembled. Little things really. A late-night text message. The screen quickly dimmed before I could see the sender. A new cologne. Unfamiliar and faintly unsettling. He'd always been meticulous about his appearance, but this was different. It felt calculated. He started working later, claiming increased workload, but the exhaustion in his eyes didn't match the energy he seemed to have when he finally got home. There were hushed phone calls, whispers in the other room, that brief, almost imperceptible shift in his demeanor when my phone would ring. I dismissed it all. I told myself I was being paranoid, overly sensitive, a victim of my own insecurities. He loves me, I'd whisper to myself, clutching at that belief like a lifeline in a storm. We had a good life, a beautiful home, a love story I'd always believed was unshakable. The thought of him betraying me, was simply too painful to even consider. So I buried my suspicions, forcing those nagging doubts down until they were suffocated beneath layers of denial. But the doubts persisted, a persistent hum beneath the surface of our seemingly perfect reality. His phone became his shadow, always clutched in his hand, its screen glowing with messages I wasn't privy to. The late nights stretched into early mornings, excuses growing thinner with each passing day. He'd become distant, less affectionate, his touch hesitant, his gaze fleeting. There was a new tension in the air, a silent, unspoken thing hanging between us like a heavy curtain. I remember one evening, noticing a strand of unfamiliar hair on his shirt, a different color, a different texture, and the icy grip of fear that clenched my heart. Even then, I hesitated, rationalizing, making excuses, desperately searching for any explanation that didn't involve the shattering truth. But the whispers, the late nights, the subtle changes, they were adding up, building a silent, insidious pressure that was slowly, agonizingly, tearing apart the foundation of our world. The cracks were appearing, and I was too afraid to look too closely. Too afraid to see the truth staring back at me, because knowing would mean facing a reality far more devastating than any suspicion ever could. So I'd pieced together enough clues, enough whispers of doubt, enough off moments. But I still needed to hear it, to know it. And that's when the confrontation happened. It wasn't a dramatic scene from a movie, no screaming matches or thrown objects. It was quieter, more devastating. He just looked at me. That look, I'll never forget it. A mixture of guilt, fear, and something else, something that felt like a chilling indifference. He confessed. The words tumbled out, each one a fresh stab to my heart. He didn't even try to defend himself at first, the weight of his actions pressing down on him, evident in the slump of his shoulders. And then came the tears. Mine, not his. A torrent of raw, unfiltered grief. It wasn't just the betrayal itself. It was the shattering of everything I thought I knew. The future we'd built together, the dreams we'd shared, the foundation of our marriage, all crumbling to dust in front of my eyes. The anger followed, hot and fierce, a burning rage that threatened to consume me. I wanted to lash out, to scream, to make him feel even a fraction of the pain he'd caused me. But all I could do was cry, sob uncontrollably, the air catching in my throat with each gasp. The numbness hit later, a heavy cloak that draped over me, suffocating every emotion. I felt disconnected, like I was watching myself from outside my own body, replaying the conversation, the look on his face, the agonizing truth of it all. It was a surreal experience, a nightmarish blend of disbelief, betrayal, and a deep, gnawing sense of loneliness. The feeling of being utterly alone, even though he was right there, was the worst part. It wasn't just the physical infidelity, it was the violation of trust, the erosion of intimacy, the complete dismantling of our shared reality. That night, the world as I knew it ceased to exist. The pain was visceral, a gaping wound that threatened to bleed out everything that was good and true within me. This wasn't just heartbreak, it was the shattering of my entire world. This was the moment everything changed. And this, my friends, is where my journey really began. The world imploded. After the confrontation, after the raw, gut-wrenching truth spilled out, everything went silent. Not a physical silence, but a deafening emptiness inside me. It was shock, pure and simple. A numb, detached feeling like I was watching a movie about someone else's life, someone else's devastating heartbreak. I couldn't process it. I just existed. Then the anger erupted, a volcano of rage that threatened to consume everything in its path. It wasn't just directed at him, the betrayer, although that was a significant part of it. It was anger at myself for not seeing the signs sooner, anger at the lies, the deception, the violation of our vows, the shattering of the life we had built together, brick by painstaking brick. I raged against the unfairness of it all, the injustice, the pain. Days blurred into a whirlwind of screaming, crying, and pacing. But the anger couldn't last forever. It was replaced by denial, a desperate, clinging hope that this was all a terrible mistake, a misunderstanding. I'd replay conversations in my head, searching for hidden meanings, alternate realities where none of this happened. I convinced myself that I was overreacting, that I was misinterpreting things. Anything to avoid confronting the brutal reality. This stage was agonizing, a torturous cycle of self-deception. The denial eventually crumbled, paving the way for bargaining. I found myself making deals with God, with the universe, with anyone who would listen. If I can just get through this, I'll do anything, I'd silently plead. Just let us fix this. Let me believe that things can go back to normal. I offered up promises, sacrificing aspects of my life, hoping to somehow erase the betrayal and reclaim what was lost. Then came the depression, a heavy, suffocating blanket that smothered any flicker of hope. The world lost its color. Everything felt gray, pointless. Sleep became my only escape, a temporary reprieve from the relentless pain. I neglected myself completely. Simple tasks became monumental efforts, the weight of the situation pressing down on me like an immense physical force. The joy drained from my life. Even the things I once loved seemed empty and hollow. And finally, after what felt like an eternity, a small crack of light appeared. Acceptance wasn't about condoning what happened or forgiving him right away. It was about accepting the reality of the situation, understanding that I had a right to my own pain, and that I deserved healing. It was acknowledging that my life had been irrevocably altered, but wasn't necessarily over. It was the quiet understanding that this was a chapter, a painful one, but a chapter nonetheless. This acceptance, even tentative and fragile, marked the beginning of my journey toward healing. So the dust settled. The anger, the disbelief, the gut-wrenching pain. It was all still there, simmering beneath the surface. But after the storm, the wreckage needed clearing. That's when the real work began, healing. And let me tell you, it wasn't a straight line. It was messy, it was confusing. And there were days I felt like I was taking 10 steps back for every one step forward. First, therapy. I couldn't have done it without my therapist. She provided a safe space for me to unpack everything. The betrayal, the anger, the self-doubt that crept in. We worked through the trauma, processing the events, understanding my reactions, and learning coping mechanisms. It wasn't about fixing the past. It was about equipping myself to navigate the present and build a future free from the shadows of his actions. She helped me understand that my feelings were valid, that my pain was real, and that it was okay to not be okay. Then there was my support system. My family, my closest friends, they were my lifeline. They listened without judgment, offered comfort when I needed it, and celebrated even the smallest victories along the way. They reminded me of my strength, my worth, and my resilience, even when I couldn't see it myself. Some friends, understandably, distanced themselves, and that was okay too. I didn't have the energy to explain everything, to justify my pain, to constantly reassure them. My focus needed to be on healing. Self-care became paramount. It wasn't just bubble baths and face masks, although those helped. It was about prioritizing my mental and physical well-being. I started exercising regularly, finding solace in movement, and the release of endorphins. I rediscovered old hobbies, things that brought me joy before the betrayal shattered my world. I spent time in nature, finding peace and quiet amidst the chaos in my life. I focused on nourishing my body with healthy food and getting enough sleep. These small acts of self-love were crucial in rebuilding my sense of self. This journey of healing wasn't just about fixing the damage, it was about growth. I learned to trust my intuition, to recognize my own red flags, and to set healthier boundaries. I discovered strengths I never knew I possessed, a resilience I never thought possible. I learned to love myself again, flaws and all. It was a long and winding road, but it led me to a place of strength and self-acceptance that I never could have imagined possible after such a devastating experience. The scars remain, a reminder of the pain, but they also serve as a testament to my journey, my healing, and my unwavering determination to build a brighter future. So healing, it wasn't just about therapy sessions and self-care, although those were absolutely crucial. It was about something deeper, forgiveness. And that, my friends, was a whole other beast. Forgiveness isn't a switch you flip. It's not a destination you arrive at, neatly packaged and tied with a bow. It's a messy, complicated process, a journey with unexpected twists and turns. First, there was forgiving him. And honestly, that felt impossible for a long time. The anger, the betrayal, the sheer violation of trust, it felt like a constant, throbbing ache. But slowly, painstakingly, I started to understand that holding on to that anger was hurting me more than him. It was like carrying a heavy weight, a burden that prevented me from moving forward. Forgiving him wasn't condoning his actions. It wasn't saying it was okay. It was about releasing that weight, freeing myself from the prison of resentment. It was about acknowledging his humanity, flawed as it was, and understanding that his actions, though inexcusable, stemmed from his own pain and insecurities. Although that understanding didn't excuse his behavior. But then came the even harder part, forgiving myself. This was about letting go of the guilt, the shame, the self-blame. I spent so much time questioning what I could have done differently, what signs I missed, what I could have done to prevent this catastrophe. The truth is, sometimes things happen that are beyond our control. Sometimes, no matter how perfect a wife you are, no matter how much love you give, someone else will make a choice that destroys everything. And that's not your fault. Learning to accept that, to forgive myself for things I had no control over, was a monumental step. Forgiveness isn't about forgetting. It's about accepting, letting go, and finding peace within yourself. It's about choosing to move forward, to build a new life, a better life, one that's stronger and more resilient than ever before. And that's exactly what I did. This wasn't about ignoring the hurt, pretending it never happened. This was about embracing the lessons learned, using my experiences to shape who I am today, a stronger, wiser, and more empowered woman. I rebuilt my life, piece by painstaking piece. I rediscovered my passions, my strength, my self-worth, completely independent of the relationship that shattered my world. I found joy again, genuine, heartfelt joy. And that, my friends, is the power of moving forward. It's about reclaiming your narrative, rewriting your story, and creating a future filled with hope, happiness, and a deep sense of self-love. The journey is never easy, but it's so incredibly worth it. Because on the other side of heartbreak lies the possibility of something truly beautiful. A new chapter, a stronger you. So I've shared my incredibly painful journey, the raw emotions, the gut-wrenching discovery, the agonizing healing process. And while it's been intensely personal, I know I'm not alone. Millions of people experience infidelity, the shattering of trust, the betrayal that leaves you questioning everything. That's why this next part is so important. This isn't just about my story. It's about offering a lifeline to anyone else struggling with the aftermath of infidelity. If you're watching this and feeling lost, overwhelmed, completely broken, please know you're not alone. There's hope, even in the darkest of times. First, let's talk practical advice. This isn't about quick fixes because there aren't any. Healing takes time, genuine effort, and a lot of self-compassion. Allow yourself to feel your emotions, the anger, the sadness, the confusion. Don't try to bottle it up. Journaling was a huge help for me. Getting those feelings out on paper, even if it's just a stream of consciousness, can be incredibly therapeutic. Seek professional help. Seriously, a therapist specializing in relationship issues or trauma can provide invaluable support and guidance. They offer a safe space to unpack everything, to process the pain in a healthy way, and to develop strategies for moving forward. Don't underestimate the power of professional guidance. Then there's your support system. Lean on your friends and family, but choose wisely. Surround yourself with people who genuinely care, who offer unconditional love and support, not judgment or unsolicited advice. If your family isn't supportive, find a new support network. Maybe a support group specifically for people dealing with infidelity. Online resources are also incredibly helpful. I'll link some websites and organizations in the description below that offer incredible support, advice, and even online communities where you can connect with others going through similar experiences. Knowing you're not alone makes a world of difference. It's crucial to find that sense of community, to share your experiences without feeling judged. Remember, there's no shame in seeking help. Infidelity is a deeply traumatic event, and it's okay to need support to navigate the aftermath. Don't let pride or stigma prevent you from reaching out. Your well-being is paramount. This is about reclaiming your life, rebuilding your sense of self-worth, and finding your path toward healing and happiness. You deserve it. You are strong. You will get through this. And I'm here, along with the resources I've linked below, to help you every step of the way. So we've walked through the absolute worst of it. The gut-wrenching discovery, the agonizing unraveling of trust, the raw, unbearable pain of confrontation, and the roller coaster of emotions that followed, the shock, the anger, the grief that felt like it would swallow me whole. We explored the long, arduous journey of healing, the therapy sessions that felt both brutal and liberating, the support of incredible friends and family who held me up when I couldn't stand, the self-care rituals that slowly but surely chipped away at the darkness. And we talked about forgiveness, not just forgiving him, but, more importantly, forgiving myself. For allowing myself to be hurt, for not seeing the signs sooner, for doubting my own intuition. This wasn't a neat linear path. There were days I wanted to give up, days where the pain felt insurmountable, days where hope felt like a cruel joke. But through it all, something incredible happened. I discovered a strength I never knew I possessed, a resilience I never imagined I could tap into. I learned to value myself more deeply, to understand my worth, and to recognize my own power. This video isn't about revenge or resentment. It's about the possibility of rebuilding, of finding peace, of creating a life even more beautiful and fulfilling than the one that was shattered. It's about hope, real tangible hope, the hope that emerges from the ashes of betrayal, stronger and more radiant than ever before. Remember those early moments of despair? That feeling of being utterly broken? I want you to know, you are not alone. Millions have been in your shoes, and millions have emerged from the darkness, stronger and more empowered. Your journey might not look exactly like mine, and that's okay. Healing is a deeply personal process, and there's no right or wrong way to navigate it. But know this, healing is possible. This isn't the end of the story. This is the beginning of a new chapter. A chapter filled with self-love, self-respect, and a future brimming with possibility. Remember the strength you found within yourself to get through this. Hold on to that strength. Nurture it. Let it guide you toward a brighter future. A future where you are free, happy, and whole. You deserve it. You are stronger than you think. And you will get through this. I promise you.